everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Etym Quest, a show where we explore the quirky tales behind the words we use and abuse. In today's episode, we'll be focusing on the history of violent words, so sit back or get on the edge of your seat in case things blow up.
The word assassin refers to someone who murders a figure in the public eye, usually for money or political reasons. When we think of assassins, we think of Lee Harvey Oswald killing JFK, James Earl Ray killing Martin Luther King, and of course, the Mandalorian himself, Baby Yoda. The word can be traced back to the 12th century Arabic word hashashin, meaning hashish eater. The story goes that a group of religious fanatics known as the Nizari Ismaili from what is now modern-day Iran had become notorious for killing their political opponents. Rumours circulated that the perpetrators were Terminator-style killing machines that had no concern for anything other than deleting their target from the planet. Western academics attributed this murderous stupor to large amounts of hash being ingested before each murder attempt. Nowadays we know a lot more about the effects of drug taking, so we can safely assume that had these people really been pumped full of weed and told to carry out an important task like killing someone, they likely would have just sat around debating whether the strain is more of a head high or body high, and whether time is a flat circle. If you're looking for hired muscle but aren't interested in the mystique and prestige of an assassin and would prefer a more meat and potatoes, crush and gouge type of intimidation, then goons might be the option for you.
Who is it?
Goons!
Who?
Hired goons!
Hired goons?
The word goon often has connotations of being large and bumbling, which may have come from goni, a word used by 16th century sailors in reference to the albatross, a creature which is understandably inelegant given its status as the bird with the largest wingspan, but I'd still want one on my five-a-side team. The term was later popularised by the 1930s Popeye comic strip called Thimble Theatre, which debuted the character of Alice the Goon. This police artist sketch of a Sasquatch rose to new levels of stardom when she was joined by a fleet of identical henchmen in the Popeye animated cartoon, adding more nightmare fuel to the fire. Interestingly though, the very first written evidence of the word goon was actually seen in Harper's Magazine in 1921, but this version of the word veered more towards oafishness and away from aggressiveness. This part of the word's history is particularly fitting considering the modern day escapades of Harper's Magazine, with their recent letter decrying cancel culture that was signed by academics, writers, and all-round goons who are more concerned with their ability to continue being transphobic online than holding powerful people accountable. While seeing famous names tacked on the end of a vaguely ominous statement may drive you a bit berserk, the true berserkers get their name from a much more extreme act of civil disobedience. This group of ancient Norse warriors were renowned for two things, the first of which was their stylish bear shirts which gave them their name, and the second, which was how absolutely hog wild they went on the battlefield. Fighting drove them into an animalistic frenzy, bellowing like the animals whose skin they wore. Their ferocity was told to be so immense that they were impervious to blades and flames, leading to familiar theories about narcotic force fields as well as their eventual banishment from Norway in the 11th century. Perhaps the only thing that could have made these warriors more intimidating on the battlefield would be if they had rocket-propelled missile launchers aimed at you while their mouths foamed and gnashed. The M1A1, more commonly known as the bazooka, gets its name from this old-timey instrument said to be the unholy matrimony of trombone and slide whistle. Invented by the American radio personality and prop comic Bob Burns in the early 1900s, the instrument was made of just two gas pipes and a whiskey funnel gifted to him by his Uncle Slug.
That's for drinking, Uncle.
It's uncertain whether Burns got the name from bazoo, an old slang term for mouth, or the similar sounding instrument kazoo. During a stint in Europe during World War I, his contemporaries took great pleasure in the sounds of his bizarre instrument, presumably because it helped to drown out the otherwise harrowing noises of trench warfare. He continued to entertain with his bazooka in the decades after the war, becoming a household name for military personnel. So, when World War II rolled around and this funny-shaped instrument of death came to be, soldiers felt inspired to give it a cutesy name in honor of their favorite jazzman. This is often assumed to be due to the similarities in their shape, but who knows? Maybe Bob Burns also had the ability to tear through tanks and cause untold human destruction. Well, that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.